Good afternoon and welcome into another edition of the JMac Podcast. Another episode of POTUS Did What? As we answer a very important question, and that is, should you be worried about mail-in ballots in November? They've been called into question, and because of some of the things the president has said, there's a lot of people who are in angst and turmoil about this. I know because at a recent family gathering, one of my relatives approached me and said, I'm just so worried. I can't even sleep at night. I don't know what to do. I'm so worried about the election being stolen by these mail-in ballots. And I just asked him, I'm like, what leads you to believe that there is a problem beyond what the president has said? Is there anything to back it up? And I reminded him that the president has been trying to delegitimize our election process since the day he was elected. Now, a lot of people have forgotten about this, but right after the election, the president made some bold claims. He didn't like hearing that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. And so he went to Twitter and he made some pretty serious allegations. And I remember talking about him and how they throw all of our election process under the bus and they create a lack of faith in our electoral process. And I didn't like him doing it then. And I certainly don't like him doing it now. But this was his tweet way, way back when he was just the president-elect.
And on Sunday afternoon, the president-elect posted on Twitter falsely claiming that he won the Electoral College and popular vote by a landslide, tweeting, "In addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally." Trump tweeted that claim despite there being no evidence of illegal voting. The future 45th president did not offer up any facts or specifics for his claim that millions voted illegally, and there's been no legitimate evidence of widespread voter fraud in the 2016 election.
Now, because of this claim, the White House actually put together a commission to investigate voter fraud. This is something that happens a lot. The president makes a claim, and then the White House staff has to scramble to try and legitimize the claim and find evidence to back up what the president said. That committee could not find evidence of his claims of millions of people voting illegally. Now, certainly there have been cases of one or two people here and there, but no evidence whatsoever of widespread voter fraud. And then we know that as of late, he has been attacking mail-in ballots, saying that this is ripe for fraud.
Since everyone knows mail-in ballots are a disaster, it'll be fixed, it'll be rigged. People ought to get smart.
Now, why does he believe this? And why does he have my good relative friend in angst and turmoil, so much so that he can't sleep at night? Where is the evidence to back this up? In Utah, we've been doing mail-in ballots successfully. And he said that, well, what if somebody is registered to vote and they live in an apartment and they're like a young couple and then they move and they don't register in their new location and then that ballot gets sent in by whoever's living there. Somebody could actually vote twice. And I'm like, yeah, they could. But first of all, they check signatures and that one vote might get through. But in order to impact an election, you're going to have to get 100 through, 1,000 through, 20,000 through. And when they start seeing signature after signature after signature that is not matching up, they're going to identify that there is a problem. This is a pretty solid system, and it is, I think, effective. Now, the question is really whether or not what's really going on is if the president believes that mail-in voting is going to favor Democrats, that it's going to get more people to vote, and those people who vote will be Democrats. Well, there's new research out that I want to tell you about that actually refutes that. But before we do that, I'm going to share with you something that an FBI official just said. Now, you may be a believer in the deep state, and so you're going to discount anything that the FBI says, but I'll share it with you anyway. This is a senior FBI official said Wednesday that the Bureau has not seen to date a coordinated mail-in voter fraud scheme, despite President Trump and his allies' repeated attack on the long-standing U.S. mail in the voting option and the Postal Service. And this official went on to say, and even if there were a level of coordination among fraudsters mailing in ballots, it would be extraordinarily difficult to change the outcome of the election based upon this kind of fraud. Well, you can discount that. That's somebody who's embedded and they're out to get the president because they're saying something that contradicts them. But I have watched and I have listened and I have read and I have researched, and there just is nothing to back up the president's fears. There just is nothing. So if you have something, send it to me and I will gladly look at it. Now, if you were looking at the Salt Lake Tribune, you will see that they published a new study by the folks down at BYU, and I found this to be fascinating. They decided to take a look at whether or not mail-in ballots influenced or aided or helped one party or the other. So if you implement mail-in ballots, does that favor Democrats? Again, I think that's what the president is really afraid of, that mail-in ballots are going to affect the outcome in favor of Democrats. Well, this is the results of the study at BYU. Now, maybe they're part of the deep state. I don't know. But here's what it says in the Salt Lake Tribune. Voting by mail neither helps nor hurts Democrats or Republicans. This according to this new study co-written by a Brigham Young University political scientist. They evaluated 28 years of results in counties across the country that use a mail-in ballot system. They said, we ran dozens of analysis, and every single time we found no impact in partisan vote shares. So whether you're advocating for vote by mail because you think it's going to be a really good thing for your party, or advocating against it because you think it's going to be bad for your party, you're probably wasting your time. He says, we were surprised at how consistent our results were. As they looked at it, they did not find evidence that voting by mail might help one party over another in a wide range of races, including Congress, governorships, and the U.S. presidency. The study found that while vote by mail did increase overall voter turnout by about 2 to 3 percentage points, it did not change the outcome of races. So what the president is saying has been clearly refuted. It does not favor one party or the other. There is no evidence of widespread fraud. Millions of people did not vote illegally. If they did, they were so good at it that it cannot be found or seen. Yes, you're going to see stories of individuals who committed fraud here and there, but for the most part, I think we can all rest easy, and my relative friend can breathe a sigh of relief that there is no evidence that the fear that the president is instilling in Americans about mail-in ballots, it's just not true. There's just nothing to back it up. And we ought to be asking him to stop saying it, to stop delegitimizing our election processes if he doesn't have any evidence to back it up. But we're way beyond that point. We don't ask for evidence anymore because that's what deep state conspiracies can do for you. You can discount everything. You don't have to look for evidence. You don't have to listen for facts. You don't have to search for truth because you're not going to find it because you've already convinced yourself that the entire planet is out to get your guy. And so you don't have to believe anything. It's very convenient. It's very simple. It's very easy. So take that for what you will on POTUS did what? And also, I want to ask you to please take a minute and help support the JMac podcast. I want to bring you daily videos if I can, but at this point, I'm still out working and doing other things, so I've got to find a way to raise enough income to be able to make this my full-time job. I hope that you'll help me. And if you like what you see, please take a minute and become a monthly subscriber. Donate $1 a month, $5 a month. Just click on the link in this broadcast or podcast. Look at our social media and become a monthly subscriber, or make a one-time donation. Either way, you will help me out, and I can bring more fearless honesty to you here on the JMac Podcast.